Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Thursday, December 14th, 2017. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was up 0.38% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 16,403, a high of 17,000 even, and a low of 15,765. That's $1 for 6,082 Satoshis. We were so close to 5,000. Maybe next time. These guys want to lend you money against your Bitcoin. The big lenders are getting into Bitcoin, and they have a new plan for how to do these loans. Collateralization. You have to donate your Bitcoin, or you have to deposit your Bitcoin in the lending company. Then they'll hold your Bitcoin and lend you money against it. I can tell you this is a much better idea than they had at the previous lending companies such as BTC Jam, where I once worked, because at least you'll have the collateral. One of the hardest things about lending money on the internet is that nobody wants to pay it back. This can be a real problem. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin. $100 then and now. What would it be then? $100 in 2010 would be $28 million, but that's too painful. Let's not look at that. Let's look at $100 in 2013, December. That would be worth $2,665 today. That's fair. That's fair. But remember, it's never too late to invest in Bitcoin because there's a great deal of demand out there. Everyone who hasn't gotten Bitcoin still needs to hear about it, think it's a scam, come back later, buy some, and then check the charts every day. Bitcoin gets high in Korea. Just like the headline of this article, also the way they do a comparison between cannabis and Bitcoin. They say, among the measures being proposed are investor protection mechanisms, including the requirement to disclose bid-ask spreads and trading volumes. Bans on trading by financial institutions, miners, and foreigners are also on the table. And while the author has discussed regulation and acceptance before with plenty of backlash from the anarchist crowd, he expects a flood of hate mail when he says that taxing cryptocurrencies could be a good thing for this new financial vehicle. In his opinion, taxation equals legitimization, and legitimization means government support, which would lead to wider acceptance. An interesting article that you might disagree with. As he said, linking it to cannabis, he says, if you're a freedom-loving libertarian who doesn't like my thesis, ask yourself if you're in favor of the legalization of marijuana. One of the biggest arguments made by 420 Friends is that making pot legal means that it can be regulated in taxes, helping the weed economy to move out of the shadows and away from organized crime. Could this be the same for Bitcoin? A bubble? We don't even know how to value Bitcoin. And this is one of the key things that you need to understand right now. Everybody wants to call it a bubble, and they want to refer you to the dot-com bubble, which again only affected the dot-com companies. The internet was just fine. And the Bitcoin will be just fine as well. With Bitcoin, we're trying to understand the value and discover the price of a brand new asset. And we have no idea how to do that. That's why the price keeps moving up and down, because we don't know. And we're now joined by Andy Hoffman. How's it going, Andy?
Oh, it's going well. I keep, when you hear that word bubble, the first thing I think of when I hear about bubble is, does everyone own it? And I was just talking about this other day. I still don't know a single person outside of the Bitcoin community that owns Bitcoin or frankly has any idea how you would own Bitcoin.
It seems it's harder and harder these days. Most of the Bitcoiners know, but not the new people.
And it's really hard. I mean, you had hit it right on the head. It is really hard to acquire Bitcoin these days. And, like what I do at Crypto Gold Central, I feel like all day long I'm trying to help people buy it. And it's just really hard to find. There are just very few sources, and the ones that are there, they're always down, and they have all kinds of
The thing I'm hearing now is everyone's trying to get their Coinbase account verified, but Coinbase has too many accounts, so they can't verify everybody. That's where I'm hearing the new bottleneck is.
Yeah, I mean, I have a client who who wired $8,000 to Coinbase a month ago, and they decided that she'd been a client for some time, but they need to verify her account. So her money's been sitting there for a month while the price is doubled, and she still can't even get her money out. That's what you're dealing with these days.
It's worth mentioning there are Coinbase competitors like localbitcoins.com where you could go meet someone, actually get your Bitcoin that day. I don't think you even have to do any KYC customer requirements.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely working on every alternative source that I can get. It's not easy. You have to work very hard to build a position right now, but we're all in this together, sharing information, and eventually it'll get easier.
All right, and Andy, what's been going on in the altcoin markets? I know you've been watching that.
Right. Well, of course, we had this historic Bitcoin surge last week, and that was to the point where people were paying over $20,000 in certain parts of the world for it, and all the alts were selling off as a result. So it almost looked like we were going into a Bitcoin maximalist world, and we got up to, I think, 63% dominance, which is obviously it's a much higher number than what we're used to, because now you've added B gold, you've added B cash. When you look at what the numbers were back earlier this year, on the equivalent basis, it would have been a lot higher. But then, sure enough, this weekend it switched completely. All of a sudden, Litecoin had this monstrous surge, and it kind of helped the alts out. And then Ethereum had an even bigger surge after that, and now it's been kind of one after the other. And the last two alts to pump, because it looks like Litecoin's is done, Ethereum's, for now seems to be done. The last two left that hadn't really had a big pump were B Cash and B Gold, the two hard forks. And sure enough, they did this morning. So what I'm thinking is I think we're kind of running out of alts to pump, because what they've essentially been doing last week when Bitcoin jumped so much, the ratios that all these coins had traded at versus Bitcoin all plunged. Like Litecoin on average trades 1 to 2, 0.01 to 0.02, and it got to as low as 0.005 last week. So when it surged this week, it's not that it was gaining on Bitcoin, it was really just getting back to where it was. And as for Ethereum, it's been falling since June. It was at an all-time low versus, or all-time, basically a 2-year low versus Bitcoin of like 3% of Bitcoin last week, and all it's just gotten to is about 0.04. And the same with B Cash, which quote came public in August at 0.1 Bitcoin, and through all its trials and tribulations, it's gone up, it's gone down. It's at 0.11 Bitcoin right now, so it's really just kind of catching up to the move Bitcoin had. So I think that all these alts have basically caught up to about where they were beforehand, and now the sector is settling down from these big gains and getting ready for the next one, probably going into the end of the year is my guess, but what do I know?
Well, and remember, the Bitcoin market never closes, never takes holidays, even weekends off.
Yep, and futures markets do. They're going to have 24/7 futures markets.
They are. They're going to have to hire more customer support people. We're also joined by Mike Carson for a check of the prices. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? So, things went crazy last week with Bitcoin, and then the last couple of days have been going crazy with these altcoins. I'll share my screen here and show some charts. Let's see here. So I mean, Bitcoin, it's doing what I would expect and hope to do. I mean, it's just kind of consolidating now. I mean, it went up really fast, and now it's just like consolidating. I mean, and the 20-day moving averages are coming back up. So the 20-day moving average is like around 13,000, and that's corresponds to like some support between 12 and 14,000. So I think there's some good support between 12 and 14,000. If it dipped back down there, then might be a good opportunity to get some. Yeah, and then on the hourly chart, you can see there's this trend line here, which it's been sticking to. And then there's this resistance at 18,000. I mean, if it goes, but I wouldn't care if it went below this trend. I mean, some people might be like, oh, it's going to go below this trend line, it's going to crash. But if it goes below that trend line, it might just shake out some people and go down to support at 12 to 14,000. This is just my guess. If it breaks over 18,000, I mean, 20,000 is the next stop, the next place to break over. But yeah, I mean, it's super strong chart. I mean, Bitcoin is the perfect chart. I mean, it's like new all-time highs. It's got a great story. It's worldwide. I mean, it's going nuts. It's really strong. It's got huge momentum. This is the thing where you just sit on your hands, you know, like you don't, I recommend not trading this, because this is where you sit on your hands and you just ride it out and for as much as you can, because, you know, who's selling right now? Like this is what I think about. Like, who would be selling right now? Like anybody that, you know, who was shooting for the moon or waiting for the moon, like at 10,000, maybe they sold some there. And then, you know, maybe some miners are selling some, or people just on circumstances in their life or whatever, but not many people are selling. And then if you think on the other hand, who wants in on Bitcoin? Like everyone in the world. So like yeah, I mean, it's great to be long Bitcoin, I think. And so, yeah, I mean, I'll just briefly look at this Ethereum chart. So yeah, Ethereum, I mean, it has a pretty nice chart. Like there's this resistance at 400 for a while. And there's this, you can see this trend line right here that goes like right about here, this trend line. And so it broke out above this 400, and then it came back down, and so 400 was kind of support there also, and then it broke out some more. So yeah, I mean, Ethereum looks like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 1,000. If it comes back down under 400, I'd be a little concerned. I mean, I have some reservations about Ethereum anyway, just because like the size of the blockchain and security risks and stuff like that. So I feel a little, it didn't really consolidate a lot. Like Bitcoin had like a year or two of like it based out for a while, which was kind of nice after. So I'm not as bullish on Ethereum as Bitcoin, but yeah, who knows? It could go crazy. I have some chump insurance. I own some Ethereum just so I don't miss out on anything. Oh, actually, I sold my Bitcoin Gold for Ethereum, but yeah. So yeah, I guess that's it for the charts.
Yeah, Thomas, can I just throw in on Ethereum? Again, you know, the whole thing with the sector, and you have the wall of institutional money that's coming in, that they're literally just looking for anything that's liquid, and that's why Ethereum will do very well, and Bcash will do very well, because they're liquid compared to almost everything else. But when you look at Ethereum with its unlimited cap and all the other issues, the fact that its product, whatever you want to call it, is extremely competitive by so many other coins, including Bitcoin. I mean, we're talking about it now has a $65 billion market cap. For something that can very easily be competed away. I mean, that's a lot of money. That puts it probably in the top 30 tech companies in the entire world. So we will see how that 65 billion, if it just can ride the wave of crypto investment, or at some point it's going to have to actually do something. Because my guess is that it won't be long before a lot of that 65 billion is starting to eye a little more inexpensive waters. And to me, Bitcoin is the most inexpensive of all the cryptos, no matter what its market cap is.
That's a good point, Andy, on the Ethereum competition. Right now, their main offering is that they are the ICO place. So as we've started to see recently, Kik, which launched the Kin Foundation, their social messenger, they have recently left Ethereum and moved to Stellar Lumens. It's going to happen maybe more and more as these projects feel that there are too many of them on Ethereum. There's a worry that the existing ICOs would have to sell their Ethereum to get money. We don't know what's going to happen there. And then there's other competing projects. We'll have to see how that goes.
And isn't there rootstock? Not that I understand completely, but it sounds to me like that would mean Bitcoin could do the same thing if it wanted to once that was implemented.
It does sound like rootstock is going to offer smart contracts, which we now know just means ICOs on the Bitcoin blockchain. So that would be pretty cool too. So we'll have to see how that turns out. All right, I think that's about it for this episode. We're going to go to the closing screen. Just like to remind everyone that thanks for giving us a thumbs up and a share. If it's your first time here, please subscribe down below. We do these updates every day. And also check out the new worldcryptonetwork.com, our new webpage. You can check out Andy Hoffman's interview with Adam Meester. We've got the Today in Bitcoin show and the Bitcoin News show. And if you want to go back, you can check out last week's Bitcoin group and get ready for tomorrow's Bitcoin group, which we need to schedule and might be difficult as I may or may not be in San Francisco.
But there will be a Star Wars theme, right?
A Star Wars theme?
Yes, Last Jedi comes out tomorrow.
Oh, well, we'll have to work on that. I do like Star Wars. I don't have tickets yet. But we'd just like to thank everyone for their donations. We'd like to thank donor 0.001216, 0.0061985, and 0.00393082. Thanks so much for your support. And remember to subscribe right here at theworldcryptonetwork.com. You can also turn on the notifications bell. That'll tell you when we do new episodes. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.